Shalom. Kal halal Yahweh by Hashem Yahushua Wahakadash Ka. Double honor to the apostles and the elders that rule well. Peace and blessings to brothers out there that's kicking his word, sincerity, truth. I did a little research on the Euphrates River and how it says in Revelation 16 and 12 that in the latter days that it will be dried up. And in my research, there were several reasons why it was dried up. One reason because of a famine, and second reason is because you have the other nations, different nations that are actually closing down these dams. And it reminded me of the scripture in Ephesians 1 and 10. How the Most High uses the dispensation of time to issue out His judgment, man. And man, you see that more than ever. If you just living your everyday life, something like this, these little details that's going on in the Middle East, in particular in Syria, man, they go right over your head, man. That's why it's very important, that we are redeeming the time, man. Because the Most High is playing chess. He's moving pieces here, pieces there, you know, in order to fulfill His purpose in His way. So this is Ephesians 1 and 10, that in the dispensation of the fullness of time He might gather together in all things. Matter of fact, let me read those so we can get kind of an understanding of what's being said. I actually started verse 1. Uh, this is Philippians 1 and 1. Paul, an apostle of Yahushua Mashiach by the will of the Most High, to the saints which are at Euphrates, uh, and to the faithful in Yahushua Mashiach, grace be unto you and peace from God our Father and from the Lord Yahushua Mashiach. Blessed be the God and Father of our Lord Yahushua Mashiach, who hath blessed us with all spiritual blessings in heavenly places in Mashiach, according as He hath chosen us in Him before the foundation of the world, that we should be holy and without blame before Him in love, having predestinated us unto the adoption of children by Yahushua Mashiach to Himself, according to the good pleasures of His will. Bringing back the remnant of Israel. That's what that's talking about. To the praise of the glory of His grace, wherein He hath made us accepted in the beloved, in whom we have redemption through His blood, the forgiveness of sins, according to the riches of His grace, wherein He hath abounded towards us in all wisdom and prudence, having made known unto us the mystery of His will. And what is that mystery? Shoot, the gathering of the Gentiles, which the Gentiles are the remnant of Israel, man. Having made known unto us the mystery of His will, according to His good pleasure, which He hath purposed in Himself, that in the dispensation of the fullness of times He might gather together in one all things in Mashiach, both which are in heaven and which are on earth, even in Him. That's right. So that dispensation of time, if you look up that word dispensation, which we're going to do now, it means the management of time, management. You know, look up that word.
Strong's G 3622, oikonomia. Oikonomia.
And economy, and that word, it sounds very similar to economy. If you read the definition, you would get that same sentiment also. The management of a household or of household affairs, specifically the management, oversight, administration of others' property, the office of a manager or overseer, stewardship, administration, dispensation. And that's what we're seeing, man. We're seeing the Most High is managing time in order to issue out His judgment so He could seal up the elect. And within sealing up the elect, man, He's going to bring war and famines on the earth. And you see the examples. You see the examples of the two latter grievous things that are supposed to come to the earth. uh, dealing with the Euphrates River. You see, so well, let's grab an article. Well, actually, these scriptures are way more important than articles. Let's grab this in Revelation 16 and 12, and then we'll grab uh, two articles, and I'll get out you brothers' way. Because when you read this, man, it'll trip you out how precise these scriptures are, man. You know, this is Revelation 16 and 12. And the sixth angel poured out his veil upon the great river Euphrates, and the water thereof was dried up, that the way of the kings of the east might be prepared. That's what you're seeing over there. You see these different nations, man, they're drawing up the Euphrates River so they have easier access to enter into different countries, man. You know, and I saw three unclean spirits like frogs come out of the mouth of the dragon, and out of the mouth of the beast, and out of the mouth of the false prophet, and they are the spirits of devils working miracles, which go forth out unto the kings of the earth and unto the whole world to gather to them together uh, uh, of that great day of God Almighty. That's right, man. That great day I shot you. Um, so those spirits, those spirits of devils. Um, hey, that's a propaganda that's being put out there, man, as an excuse to go to war, and we're seeing that. You know what I'm saying? Coming from NATO, coming from uh, America. You see, all this propaganda is being set in place as a means for Armageddon to happen, man. You know what I'm saying? The great day of the Lord to happen, man. And we're seeing it take place, man. We're seeing the climax to World War III. You know, so this is the according to the end times truth. I'm just gonna read this first paragraph, because if you keep reading down, he starts going off. So this is according to end times truth. NASA studies recently have indicated that the Fertile Crescent region in the Middle East is losing fresh water at a rapid rate. The the water flow in the important Euphrates and Tigris rivers have decreased as a result of this trend, and formerly arable land in the area has become cracked and dry. The Tigris and Euphrates rivers are drying up, and these are the very rivers that were once a critical part of the cradle of civilization in ancient Mesopotamia 2,000 years before Mashiach. The decrease in water primarily has resulted from a major drought in 2007, and the loss of snowpack in the mountains to the north. The image map from NASA's Goddard Space Flight Center and the National Center for Atmospheric Research shows the vast decrease in fresh water in 2008 and continues today. This loss has occurred over the last decade and amounts to over 144 cubic kilometers of water lost from these ancient river basins, which includes vast areas in Turkey, Syria, Iraq, and Iran. The Euphrates is mentioned in the Bible, in the book of Revelation, in a prophecy that is predicted to occur just before Yahushua returns. During the Great Tribulation, when the globe destruction of the last days is threatened, the very existence of life on earth, the John Apostle says, and the sixth angel poured out his veils upon the great river Euphrates, and the water thereof was dried up, and the way of the kings of the east might be prepared. And that's one it's showing you there. And the reason why I brought this article out because it's showing you that one reason why the Euphrates River is uh drying up and the Tigris River is drying up is because of a famine, you know. But also, it's being dried up because you had the kings of uh of the east preparing battle, man. You have Turkey, um, and other nations that are actually controlling these dams, man, and actually America too. You know what I'm saying? Because they saying that ISIS has taken over these dams, but really we know who funded ISIS, man. America. You know what I'm saying? So they have their hands in it too. You see here, that was a good one, but we'll read this one because it has more. This is Iraq suffers as the Euphrates River dwindles. Now this is according to New York Times. Let's read it. Throughout the marshals, the reeds gatherers standing on land that once floated over cried out to visitors in a passing boat. My my two might they shout, holding up their rusty sticks. There is no water. The Euphrates is drying up, strangled by the water policies of Iraq's neighbors, Turkey and Syria, a 2-year drought and years of misuse by Iraq and its farmers. The river is significantly smaller than it was just a few years ago. Some officials worry that it could soon be over half of what it is now. So right there it's telling you that Iraq, it's like Syria and Turkey, man, they're policing the they're policing the Euphrates River. You know how they're doing that? They're doing that with those dams. The shrinking of the Euphrates, a river so crucial to the birth of civilization that the book of Revelation prophesied it drying up as a sign of the end times, has decimated farming among its rivers, uh, has left fishermen impoverished and has depleted riverside towns as farmers flee to the cities looking for work. The poor suffer more acutely, but as strata of society are but all strata of society are feeling the effects. It means all aspects of society, rich and poor. Shiites, and if you look at the word Shiites, that's like the what's the word I'm looking for? The head of a come on, the head of a of a tribe. You know what I'm saying? That's a Shiite. You know, uh, diplomats and even members of parliament who retreat to their farms after weeks in Baghdad. Along the river, rice and wheat fields have turned to baked uh, dirt. Canals have dwindled to shallow streams, and fishing boats sit on dry land. Pumps meant to feed water treatment plants dangle pointlessly over brown puddles. The old man say it's the worst they remember, says Shahid Dia, 34, a fisherman in Hindia, sitting in a riverside cafe uh, full of his idle colleagues. I'm depending on God's blessing. And people don't really, when we hear these things, here over here in America, it doesn't really mean anything to us because we don't grow anything. So this way of lifestyle is almost foreign to us, man. And this is really how you're supposed to be living off the land and with the land. You know what I'm saying? So you have a whole country that's facing drought. You know, for years now. This was written in 2009. You know what I'm saying? So hey, they've been you know what's the word I'm looking for? Causing a drought, you know what I'm saying, by drying up this river, man. Let's see here. The drought is widespread in Iraq. The area sown with wheat and barley is in the rain-fed north is down roughly 95% from the usual, and the date, palm, and citrus orchards of the east are parched. For 2 years, rainfall has been below normal, leaving the reservoirs dry, and American officials predict that wheat and barley output will be a little over half of what it was 2 years ago. Interesting. See, that's affecting its economy over there, man. It is a crisis that threatens the root of Iraq's identity, not only as the land between two rivers, but as a nation that was once the largest exporter of dates in the world, that once supplied Germany beer with barley, and that took patriotic pride in its expensive Anbar rice. Now Iraq is importing more and more grain. Farmers along the Euphrates River say with anger and despair that they may have to abandon and borrow rice for cheaper varieties. Droughts are not rare in Iraq, though officials say that they have been more frequently in recent years, but drought is only part of what is choking the Euphrates and its larger, healthier twin, the Tigris. The most frequently cited culprits are the Turkish and Syrian governments. Iraq has plenty of water, but it is a downstream country. There are at least 7 dams on the Euphrates in Turkey on the Euphrates in Turkey and Syria, according to Iraqi water officials, and with no treaties or agreements, the Iraqi government is reduced to begging its neighbor for water. And that's what you see going on. You see these, you see Turkey, and you see Syria drying up that land. You know what I'm saying? For uh, strategic military purposes, man. You see. Let's see here. At a conference in Baghdad, here where participants drank bottled water from Saudi Arabia, country with a fraction of Iraqi's freshwater, officials spoke of disaster. We have a real thirst in Iraq, said Ali Babad Baban, the minister of planning. Our agriculture is going to die. Our cities are going to wilt, and no state can keep quiet in such a situation. Recently, the water ministry announced that Turkey had doubled the water flow into the Euphrates, uh, salvaging the planting phase of the rice season in some areas. That move increased water flow to about 60% of its average, just enough to cover half of the aggregation requirements for the summer rice season. Though Turkey has agreed to keep this up and even increased it, there is no commitment binding the country to do so. With the Euphrates showing a few signs of increasing health, bitterness over Iraq's water threatens to be a source of tension for months or even years to come between Iraq and its neighbors. Many American, many American, Turkish, and even Iraqi officials disregarding accusation as elections year posturing says the real problem lies in Iraq's own deplorable water management policies. Yeah, right. Which we know. I mean, look who all is in who said that who's all in league. Turkey and America, man. You know what I'm saying? Which they are the main culprits that are drying up the Euphrates River. You know. let's get to a good part because I wanted to bring out one that was in particular uh, dealing with dealing with. Let's keep reading. This is gonna be in here. I'm being impatient. Let's see here. This is gonna tell us there used to be water everywhere. It said at Dur Rida Joda, 40, sitting in his reed hut on a dry rock, a plot of land outside Karbala. Mr. Joda, who describes his dire situation with a tired smile, grew up near Basra but fled to Baghdad when Saddam Hussein drained the great marshes of southern Iraq in retaliation for the 1999 Shia uprising. He came to Karbala in 2004 to fish and raise water buffalo in the lush wetland there that reminded there that remind him of his home. This year is just a desert. Along the Euphrates, there is no shortage of resentments at the Turks and Syrians, but there is also resentment at the Americans, Kurds, Iraqians, and the Iraqi government, all of whom are blamed. Scarcity makes foes of everyone. Now, these foes are, which is correct, all these governments have a hand in basically causing a drought and possibly a famine. You know what I'm saying? War breakout in the area. These Sunni areas up river seem to have enough water. Mrs. Jody observed a comment heavy with implication. Officials say nothing will improve it if Iraq does not seriously address its own water policy and its history of flawed water management. Leaky canals and wasteful irrigation practices squander the water, and poor drainage leaves fields so salty from evaporated water that women and children dread uh, huge water mounts from sitting pools of runoff. Yeah, that's pretty much it on that. Now this is a good one also. The danger. Now this is according to Foreign Affairs. The dangerous state of Iraq's river. From the moment in early 2014 that fighters from the Islamic State, also known as ISIS, surged in Fallujah and seized the cities down, Muhammad Ahmed feared the worst. As a farmer who was heavily dependent on an Asian network of canals that flowed uh, east out of the Euphrates River, Ahmed knew how easily the jihadists might sabotage his crops. And so when the group slammed the Fallujah Fallujah dam shot that August, flooding much of Baghdad's agricultural belt and halting an Iraqi army advance. Ahmed was better prepared than most. I kept my seeds, my fertilizer, everything up high. I had this feeling, he said. So right there is telling you in 2014 that you had had ISIS take a hold of a dam in Fallujah. Forgive me if I'm saying that wrong. And who funds you know what I'm saying, these terrorists, man? Where you have America funding, you know what I'm saying, these so-called rebels, man. You know, the people that were standing up or supposedly rebelling. That's a better term, rebelling against the Syrian government, man. America was funding them, man. Now they say that ISIS is a totally different um uh I guess organization in which they were funding, that's BS, man. America is funding ISIS, bro. You know what I'm saying? Right now, what you see going on in the Middle East is basically a proxy wars. You know what I'm saying? You have America funding these rebels, and you have Russia. What are they doing? They're fighting against these rebels, man. You see what I'm saying? So in the midst of that, what's going on? Well, you got these rebels taking over these dams and basically affecting countries, man. One country that is being affected is Iraq. You know, uh, second paragraph. But what neither he nor his neighbors, all farmers working to land in the shadow of a notorious former U.S. prison, could have anticipated was the long-term environmental damage that ISIS might inflict on the area even in defeat. After being driven from Fulaji in May 2016, the jihadists blew six of the dam's 10 gates, forcing officials to cut flow into the canals 9 months later, and still without water. Swath, swaths of northeastern Anbar province are bone dry. Uh, Dirty water, low water, bad canals. We thought we'd seen everything. Amid said, staring out over his parched fields. Not now it's even worse though. After those animals, there's no water at. After those animals, there's no water at all. Much of the reporting on ISIS has understandably centered on the American toll of its terror, but Iraq's two great rivers have also been hit hard, and the consequences are likely to last well beyond the group's uh, e- uh, e- event eventual demise. Already beset by an array of problems, the Euphrates and Tigris has been dirtier with corpse. Uh, and we'll stop right there because you, yeah, you have to pay for that. But I want to pull this last one out. Salaki brothers, I know I'm reading a lot of information. I'm really just pulling this out, these different articles out for brothers. You know what I'm saying? So you could kind of connect the dots. You know, and kind of understand for yourself of what's going on. So as I'm reading this, you know what I'm saying, pull these things up for yourself, you know, and just read them. American-led intervention in the Syrian civil war. The American-led intervention in the Syrian civil war refers to U.S. support of Syrian opposition and the Federation of Northern Syria during the course of the Syrian civil war and active involvement of U.S. military against the Islamic State of Iraq and the Levant and against the Al Nusra Front from 2014. Since 2017, U.S. has also targeted Syrian military positions. The United States first supplied the rebels of the Free Syrian Army with non-lethal aid, including food rations and pickup trucks, but quickly began providing training, cash, and intelligence to select Syrian rebel commanders during the Syrian Civil War, which began in 2011. Two U.S. programs attempted to assist the rebels. One was a military program that planned to train and equip 15,000 Syrian rebels. So America is is funding coups, man, and nobody has a problem with that. You see, America right here is telling you on Wikipedia that America is funding coups, man. They are setting up these proxy wars, man. You know what I'm saying? Talking about that, they funding two different organizations. The Free Syrian Army has nothing to do with the Islamic State, the ISIS. Come on, man. It's BS, bro. You know, and here you are, they telling you that they trained and equipped in 15,000 Syrian rebels, man. Come on now. One was a military program that planned to train and equip 15,000 Syrian rebels, but was canceled in 2015 after spending 500 million in producing only a few dozen fighters. A 1 billion convert program ran by the CIA was more successful, but was decimated by Russian bombing and canceled in mid 2017 by the Trump administration. So right there, you see that, man. Really, if you want to get technical, World War III has already started. You see, it's just not the main forces fighting one another. You have these small uh, uh, armies that are paid, you know, to and are fighting one another, man. But real soon it's gonna turn hot. In World War III, you know what I'm saying? It's gonna be more apparent, man. You know, but shoot, I just wanted to give brothers, you know what I'm saying, a background of what's going over there with the Euphrates River, and also insight of what's going over there. A very superficial insight of what's going on over there in Syria, man, dealing with Syria and America, and also Turkey and Russia, man. Most of our witness was edifying, Um, yeah. All praise to Yahweh by Shem Yahweh Shah. Double honors to the apostles and the elders that rule well. Peace and blessings to you brothers out there that's kicking his word in sincerity and truth. Shalom.